Welcome to BSF Recovery Team and our next install of our new Auxbeam lighting. The next upgrade for our business end of the wrecker is the 42-inch combination flood and spot beam light bar. We're going to mount this right underneath the rotators in place of the ones that we have on there now. And while I'm setting up the brackets and getting some measurements on this one, Jeff's going to help us out by taking off the old ones. The 42-inch light bar here has some really nice cast aluminum brackets for mounting. Looks like our bracket spacing on this one is 43 1/2. Okay, like before, we gotta find center first. We have 55 1/2. Half of that should be 27 3/4. I think. Yeah. It's 27. Okay, we'll check that and make sure. 27 3/4. And our brackets on our light were 43 1/2, so half of that is 21 3/4. Hold that there, would you? One 3/4. Give us a mark. Okay, now we'll make sure that that's $43 1/2. Now I'll measure the center of our bar, 1 inch. That should be our holes. Now we can drill our holes. With our holes drilled, Jeff's now mounting the brackets to the bar with the supplied hardware. Something unique about the supplied hardware I want to show you. The supplied Allen screws are theft proof. If you look close, you can see the little tab in the center there, and they give you a supplied theft proof Allen wrench. So don't throw these away. With our brackets in place, we can now mount the light bar. Now with our new 42-inch Auxbeam light bar mounted, all we have to do is wire it in. Auxbeam supplies a beautiful harness for for wiring in your new light bar. And for most normal trucks, that's just fine. But as we all know, the Wrecker isn't quite a normal truck. And because it already has a work light circuit, we want to wire it into that. But before we just go ahead and wire it in, there's a few calculations that we want to do. The lights that we removed were 55 watts each. 2 of them makes 110 watts. You divide that by the supplied 12 volts, and that means the circuit was pulling a little over 9 amps. And we added the other little light bar underneath here that pulls another 1.5 amps. The circuit is controlled by a 20 amp switch. The new light bar with 144 LED bulbs for the floodlight circuit and 72 LED bulbs for the spotlight circuit adds up to 216 LED bulbs. Each LED bulb pulls 1 watt. So that means we're pulling 216 watts on the new light bar. You divide that by the 12 supplied volts and we come up with about 18 amps. 18 amps with the additional 1.5 amps of the other light bar puts us almost at the limit of the 20 amp switch. And that's not factoring in the added resistance of the wires or connections. So I think to be on the safe side, we'll want to put an additional supply in. But we can still control it off of the same switch. How do we do that? Well, with a relay, of course. With our relay mounted beside our junction box that we got from Detroit Wrecker Sales a little while ago, we have our white wire coming into our relay, which is our control side, coming from our circuit that we already have for our work lights, and the black wires going back to ground. That means when we turn on the switch for our work lights, that will power this white wire and close this relay. Then the load side of the relay, we're going to wire into a already existing 30 amp circuit that doesn't have anything connected to it. And then coming out of the load side, we'll be going up to our light bar. Well, we got it all wired up now. Should we check it out? Oh boy, that's just like having daylight. Let's try it out in the woods. All right, let's see how they work in the woods. Oh wow, would you look at that? I can see every tree and every branch. That'll make it a whole lot easier to maneuver this monster around in the woods. And I can only imagine how sweet this will be for winch outs at night. Shall we sweep in a side-by-side comparison of the old and the new? Now I'm dying to see how far this light will reach out in the open. Okay, we're out in the field now. We're going to see just how far this Auxbeam light bar will reach. Go ahead, Jeff. Ho! Look at that. That's reaching out there well over 100 yards, and it's just like daylight. Don't miss our next install of the Auxbeam headlights.